Splatoon. It's a game we all know, or at least most people know. If you're watching this video, you actually probably don't know about Splatoon, but Splatoon is one of Nintendo's biggest IPs at the moment. It's a third-person shooter where your goal is to paint the most turf, at least in the main mode, which we will be covering today. And I'm CallieCat the Squid Kid, and this is the video about how you play Splatoon, just the basic. We'll have the advanced and the specific weapons later, so I will see you guys in the video. First of all, we will cover the most simple thing in this very simple but advanced game. Inking, it's the main part of the game. It's the thing that separated Splatoon from all other third-person shooters and pretty much all shooters in general. Your goal in this game is to paint the most turf instead of killing opponents and killing opponents. That's really all that other shooters do. That's what makes Splatoon unique. Your goal is to paint the ground. I know I've said this like 4 times, but it's very important. That's the whole point of the game. But yes, your goal is to paint the ground. You do that by clicking R. It's the big fat button at the top right of your controller. You will click that and you will paint the turf. If you paint the turf, you are already helping your team more than half of the people who play this game, who just disconnect instantly, which I will talk about later. Shoot your weapon. And whenever you're shooting your weapon, your goal is to paint the most turf. I know I've said this 20 times, but you're going to want to start by painting your base. Your base is the starting area up to about the middle point, where either you turn right, because most of the Splatoon stages are like Tetris pieces, where it's forward, right, and then forward, or it's going to be where it spreads out. And usually your team is not going to paint that for you, and they should be painting it, and you're going to want to paint that for your team, because your team's not going to paint it, so you have to paint it. Get it? Yes, got it. Good. But when you're painting, you can run out of ink. Ink is, again, the main mechanic of Splatoon. You can only shoot your weapon so much before you can't shoot it anymore. And if you run out of ink, you're going to want to click the big fat button on the left, ZL. It makes you go into squid form. That is another main mechanic of Splatoon. And in Splatoon, well, that's Splatoon for you. All it is shooting and squidding. But there's a lot more to it than that. Whenever you're in squid form, you move faster, it's harder for your opponents to see you, and you refill on ink. When you refill on ink, it'll let you shoot your weapon more. And also, there are things called bombs. Whoa, bombs? Who would have thought? A game that's a shooter has bombs in it. Well, those bombs, you can throw them. Most of them wait a few seconds before they explode. Like a suction bomb, burst bombs do not actually. Suction bombs and splat bomb and fizzy bomb and torpedo bomb and curling bomb and auto bomb. It's a lot of bombs. They all have bomb in their name. And then burst bomb explodes on contact. We'll get to that later in our burst bomb specific video. There are also utility subs, which are like splash wall or ink mine or point sensor, which will just point out the opponents or block them from you, for the examples that I have listed. Ink mine will also do a bit of damage. But whenever you use a sub, it'll usually use over half of your ink tanks. You're going to want to watch out how often you use those and when you use them. The only ones that don't, I believe, are point sensor and burst bomb. But now you know the very, very basics of Splatoon. So it's time to start your first match, or at least I will explain what to do in your first match. Your first match, you start, or every match, you start in espresso machines. That's probably why Inklings run around all the time and never get tired. I wish I could do that. But by the way, you shoot out of them with the shoot button. And then once you've shot out, you can ink, turf, run around, squid, jump. By the way, jump is B. I haven't explained that yet. But yeah, your goal is to paint the most turf. I've said that like 20 times now. It's going to get really repetitive really fast. Once you start painting turf, paint your base. I've already said that too, but that's another really important thing. Once your base is painted, you're going to go into the middle, and now you're probably going to get your first combat against another opponent. I'm not going to explain that much here. With your opponents, they have many predictable patterns that they can take. Most of them won't be predictable though, because they're going to be starting out, especially when you're starting out. And you're going to want to just avoid them at the start. Keep painting your base, and if one walks in front of you, keep shooting at them. Keep your cursor facing towards them. If your cursor ever goes out of line and gets into like a weird spot, click Y. It'll readjust your cursor to the middle. Like turning my controller up, clicking Y, turning it down, clicking Y, turning it to the middle and clicking Y. In quick succession. It works really well. At least for me. For camera, I suggest having it so it's slightly above a parallel line to the ground. because that'll make it so it's the best for arching your shots and for hitting opponents and inking turf. In a battle with an opponent, if you happen to get shot 4 to 5 times with a shooter, then you will die. It will have about 5 seconds. I know dying is harsh, but you will die. Whoa. And then you'll be sent back to your espresso machine. I don't know why they're espresso machines. But yeah, you die, you go back, and then you have to shoot out of the espresso machine again. It's going to be the shoot button. Before, it's not required to click the shoot button, but now it is. Guess what? You're going to have to click it. And you can go forward again and go back to the middle, or you can click X, which is the top button on your controller, pull up the map, and then move your cursor over one of your teammates. There'll appear small squid logos on the map. Click A on one of them, and you will super jump to them. That will be shooting up into the sky and falling down pretty much right where they are. Super jumping is a risky move, though, because when you shoot up, the opponents can see where you're about to land. And if they're guarding that spot, you're probably going to die again. So I suggest most of the time, unless you have quick super jump, hidden super jump, or a one-shot weapon like a roller, splatana, not a charger because those have to charge, I suggest avoiding super jumping. There are also dualies, which will help you move out of the way. And I know I'm explaining this very fast. Just keep watching my other videos and it'll explain it better. Now at this point, even in your first match, I assume you'll run into something called a disconnect. A disconnect happens a lot. It's because Nintendo's online services are slightly faulty, or someone gets online and their parents are like, go upstairs and clean your room. So they set down the controller and they don't move for too long. Then they will disappear out of the match. If they're disappeared, which in the first minute, then that match will not count and it'll end early within 5 seconds of them disconnecting. If they do wait and it's past 1 minute, the match will continue depending on whose team it on. It doesn't matter. And once they disconnect, then the team who had the disconnect, or just in general, whatever team loses, it won't count as a loss. It'll still just count as a match that never happened. So that will be very helpful in ranked, which I will give tutorials on each of the ranked modes later. In Splatoon 3, they've added 2 new moves that are different from the previous ones. You can now squid roll and squid surge. Squid rolling is when you go one direction and then quickly turn the other way and click B. It'll make it so you have like a spinny animation and you'll have slight invincibility. This isn't going to be very useful. It is useful when like a charger is aiming at you. You're going to want to roll to the side and back and forth when you're going towards them. In your ink, you have to be in squid form. And then there's also squid surge. Whenever you're on a wall in your ink, you can hold B, you'll start to light up, and then when you let go of B, you'll shoot into the air. Once the match gets to 1 minute left, you'll start to hear a song that's different from the song before. I'm not sure how different because I don't know which song it is. There are over 100 songs in Splatoon, about 10 for battles. Yeah, it'll switch, and there'll be 1 minute left. This is the minute that really counts, but it's mostly the last 20 seconds. If you can get a wipeout, which is killing all of the other teammates, you're going to want to push forward, especially in these last minute, and try to paint as much turf as you can. For the first 2 minutes, it's okay to try to just like go for kills, but those won't be very helpful. At the end, you're going to want to just do as much as you can to take as much turf as you can. There is a thing that's like base camping, spawn camping is what they call it in Splatoon, where people will go in front of the base where the opponents can't get out at all. You do have spawn armor, so things like splashdown or Trizuka won't kill you instantly whenever you jump out of spawn, but spawn camping is a slight problem, so you're going to want to do everything that you can to get your opponent out of your base if you're in danger. If you are in danger, it'll say it in the top left or in the top center of your screen, where then you will know that you are probably going to lose this match, especially if it's towards the end of the game. But you can always get out of danger. Don't give up too quickly, and never disconnect on purpose, because that is very rude to your teammates. And as we're nearing the end of the video, it is time for you to be nearing the end of the match. Once your match is pretty much over, you're going to get a 10-second countdown, and at 10 seconds, everything is very important that you do. If you die, set your controller down, cool off, so the next match, you're ready to go again, and your match will end. You'll see 2 judges on screen. They're 2 cats. You can see them on screen now, but they will judge how many points you've gotten, and depending on how many points you've gotten or how much percentage of the map that you've turfed, then that depends on which team is winning. Judd, once you're in the lobby, if you click beat or go to don't play again, Judd will be by the doors that you started in, and he can give you more tips on like specific weapons, specials, and subs. Once you're out though, the best part of Splatoon is there. It is the gotcha machine. And I know that might not seem exciting for people, but it's very addicting. Watch out. You can also buy upgrades and stuff. They're not upgrades, but they will help you like get more cash and more XP during battle. And I believe that's it for now. Come back next time for more in-depth battle recaps, or not even battle recaps, but more things to learn about Splatoon. And for my in-depth analysis, and for each weapon class and subs, like how to use it. That'll be all for now. Please like, subscribe, comment, and this takes me quite a while to make each video, so please subscribe. It only takes you guys a second. You guys can completely ignore the rest of the videos. Goodbye.